Good morning, folks. We're heading out to do a little fishing, cruise along these campsites that are along here. Check them out, see if we can't catch something. This is the first campsite right off the bow there now. We're just going to go out about a mile and a half, I guess, or maybe it's just a mile. I can't remember. Check out kind of a little bay too, just to see if we can see some wildlife up that way. It's definitely cooler today than it was yesterday. Visibility's picked up a bit, but there's still a lot of smoke in the air. Pretty deep, I think, here right now, so we'll go a little shallower. We were stuck a little bit inside last night because of the rain, so we didn't have the fire I had hoped to have. We'll have one tonight, I hope. It looks like it's going to be dry, and hopefully that wood will dry out in the sun. We'll see how that goes. Temperatures right now are, I think I was seeing approaching 60 now, so high 50s, 60. Well, we ran across one fisherman there, that evidently catching a few fish in the Narrows. Going up on the campground here. I'll turn the camera around so you can see it. This is one of the campgrounds that is along this shore. Looks like a pretty good one. So if you were camping, this is one place to stay. Very protected in a little bay here, so. And we'll sneak out through this channel. Managed to snag my rod again, and it's just, I need to put a different line on it or something. It just doesn't. But from casting from this boat, I've had trouble with it. It's line sticks. I don't know if it's twisted up or what, but eventually I'll figure it out. But this morning I'm too frustrated with it to try to fix it. So pretty shallow through here. So far still deep enough, but nope, hit bottom. I think go closer to the rocks over there. I imagine there's a few boaters that lost their props on that. All right, let's see if I can get this down. All right, just returning to the boat. No success fishing, managed to snag the line again. Gets caught around the reel. There's something wrong there, but I didn't have time to mess with it. Just motoring back, no wildlife. In fact, that whole area up there that I thought might be remote and might see a moose was full of cabins. Not what I expected. Skies are much clearer today, but there's still a fair amount of haze from the smoke. But the rain that we had last night helped wash some of it away. This site is pretty rocky, not the best place, really. It's exposed to south wind, any southerly component, and also wakes of boats going by, which are plenty. Most of them are out farther, so it hasn't been damaging or anything like that, but it is an issue. So if you're going to use this site, just be aware of that. Very rocky shore, mostly small shale kind of stuff that it's just very hard to even walk on. Easy to twist an ankle. My gangplank really helps with that. So, and hopefully that sun will dry out the wood from the rain last night. I had it all cocked up so it would be, the rain wouldn't collect on it, and the sun should dry it, but otherwise somebody's got a lot of wood. I'm going to end up leaving wood anyway, but I've taken advantage of others before with wood that was left behind, so my turn, I guess, to leave something behind. All right, let's sneak in here. Wind is going to push us away, so we'll get underneath that. Got to be careful of the camera here because it's lower than the camera, and it could pluck it off there if I'm not careful. All right, I think I got it. Pull it up a little bit. Get a rope tied around this stern cleat. And then the other one here. All right. Now we'll shut down the camera. The motor first. All right, we used 12%, I should say. We're going to take things apart here a little bit so I don't have to do as much tomorrow. Well, I'm going to go ahead and let you guys watch the starting of the fire. Even though it rained last night, I think should work. So I'm expecting a good fire. Should light right off. I've got wood drying around the fire, and I got plenty of wood. So I'll stay out here as late as I can tonight. But this fire is going to get hot initially. Sun's still high in the sky, but I've got so much wood I figured I might as well start early. I did all my chores. You can see the forward bimini on the boat is already folded up, ready to go into the dock tomorrow. The dinghy's got the motor off. It's ready to put ashore. And I've washed dishes. I've got pretty much everything ready to go. It'll just be up to the morning, and hopefully that we'll get not 2 minutes traffic in the morning while I'm trying to put the boat on the trailer. It's always I hate to have people wait for me, but it takes me a lot longer when I'm alone getting the boat, up on the trailer and stuff. So, and now I have the dinghy, so I've got to get that ashore and out of the way before I pull the boat out too. So I haven't decided on an arrival time yet, but I'm thinking 7 o'clock maybe. I don't know. I'm trying to back it off from where I want to be in Bemidji. I'd like to get into Bemidji about by 2. I'm going to stop there and visit family. Oops, better cover up my wine here. All the ash is coming back on me here. The dragonflies are out in full tonight. There's a lot of mosquitoes around. That rain just really came up with a new crop of mosquitoes. Rain followed by a warm day. Well, fire started really good, but that initial flare-up will go away. I'm going to put some bigger pieces on here shortly and try to build up the coals as long as I can. So we'll start with that right now. I'm going to take a piece of this wood that should burn really well, because it's just a piece of lumber is what it is. Somebody left here. There was some wind from the west, but it's not showing up right in here. You can see out there the waves on the outside the point, but in here there's not that much wind. I debated whether they have a fire ring right here, but I decided to use the rocks. I like the rock ring, it's more natural. I just realized they hadn't bought a stick, but here's one right here, so we'll use that. Got to have a poker. If you're going to mind a fire, you got to have a poker. So try to get all those pieces back in there. Got good coals already started, so I'm pleased with the evening. It's just beautiful. I just thank you, Lord, for the smog that was from the smoke and the fires up in Canada. I've dissipated this evening. the skies have cleared up. It's the dragonflies are just buzzing overhead madly. I don't know if that shows up on film or not, but they're picking up bugs regular, which makes me happy. But I just thank the Lord that it's turned out to be such a beautiful day. I was able to do everything. I went down the shore with the dinghy, went down to check out a bay down there. I thought there might be a possibility of a moose, but when I got closer, I realized it was there was cabins in there. In the park, there's still cabins that remain. I don't know what kind of a deal they made. There just happened to be a bunch in that one, so there obviously wasn't going to be any moose there, but it was a fun little journey. And then I came back and started putting things away, getting ready to pull out tomorrow to try to do as much work today as I can to minimize the work tomorrow, because it's always a big deal. 3 hours sometimes on takeout. It took me 4 hours, I think, nearly 4, 3.5, to put it in this time, because I added those panels on the top of the aft bimini. That's a new aluminum framework that I built, and then also the fixed panels. Before they were portable panels. One of them failed last fall on my Temagami trip, and so I decided I needed to modify that, and worked on that through the winter. And this is the first test. Works wonderfully. I can't complain at all. The Starlink, I don't know if you can see it in the camera, but that's the white square there on the top of the roof, and that's been working every place I've pulled in. I don't know if they've put up more satellites or what, but the performance on this trip is, I can't complain at all. It's worked every time. Not that I've used it that much. I watched a movie over the last couple of nights. I didn't download it. It was I actually streamed. That tells you I've got good performance if I can do that. The trip has just been blessed. That's all I can say. The Lord has blessed me wonderfully on this trip. You know, back in the winter, I prayed about when I should go. I was trying to pick dates, and it got later than I wanted. But I thought, okay, Lord, if this is it, then let's go for it. And so we did. And I have to say, the whole trip has just been blessed. Yeah, I've had some bugaboos. I fell in the rocks. That was my fault, and broke the face on my phone. So I'll have to get that fixed, or either that'll live with it, which I could do, I guess. It seems to be functioning okay, so I don't know if I really need to do anything with it other than it just looks lousy. I'll probably eventually fix it. I looked online. It looks like $250 or so is what it's going to take to fix it. I probably won't try to do that myself. You can buy kits, but I don't think I'll do that. Last time I did one of those projects, and I killed it. So sometimes it's not best not to do it yourself. And it's an expensive phone, so I just don't want to risk it. It's not worth it. But, you know, the weather, just the seas have been almost flat. I've never had any threatening waves on this trip. And I expected some, because usually in May and into June you'll get quite a bit of wind, but not this year. You know, other than the smoke we've had kind of a haze the whole trip. And it's gotten worse in the last couple of days, and then today, this evening actually, it's lifted up. So that's pleasant to see. You can see the other shore. It looked like they were actually they were reporting fog, I think, in town. And of course it wasn't fog, it was smog. It was that smoke. Now you can see clearly over to the other shore. I'll miss it. I always enjoy getting out here in this wilderness environment, enjoying a wood fire in the evening, just messing around in the outdoors. I just enjoy that. And some people say, well, you're alone, don't you want company? And I said, nah, there's a lot of benefits in having company, but I think there's more not having company. You know, you go when you want to go, you stop when you want to stop. You don't have to be concerned about another person and their idiosyncrasies, because there always is some. I've made several trips where I took people out on my sailboats, and from my standpoint, when I got back and looked back on it, I thought, you know, was that worth the effort of trying to entertain people, and because usually what I end up doing is cooking for everybody, and then I got to run the boat too, and I get worn out. And after a while, I just decided, no, I don't think it's worth it. So I quit doing that kind of thing, and I'm comfortable with me. So it's easier just to stick it out without having to bring someone along. So I'm just really enjoying the evening. It's one of my best trips, I think, in terms of weather. I can't really fault any particular day. I mean, yeah, I've had a little bit of rain, but I expected rain a lot more than what I got. And the big thing is just didn't have high winds, no big waves. I was a little concerned about the day before, yesterday, that I might run into wind out here on the big part of the lake, a Rainy Lake, but didn't happen. By the time I departed the last site, the wind dropped and it was pretty much calm all the way over across. And that's pretty much been the case every day. I don't know that I've had any trip like that where there was almost no wind or very light winds every day. You usually have to work around the winds a little bit, and on this trip, it's day after day. It's been pleasant winds and pleasant weather, mostly sunny. A few cloudy mornings, but really good weather. So I thank the Lord for that. There's been more mosquitoes than I anticipated, and I ran into the tick nightmare, which you've heard about probably by now. Got to cover my glass here. I'm going to get ash in it. Yeah, I mean, that's the only drawback I can see is the mosquitoes and the ticks were out in full. I've been using mosquito netting over the bed or the bunk at night now for the last 3 or 4 days, and that's really helped prevent that. You know, they probably suck on me all night, and I don't know it. But in the morning, they just harass me and wake me up. So I've been sleeping peacefully. They don't harass me. I just have no problems with that. I did have one mouse that came aboard, which he met his demise, and that was the end of that. But I still have a couple of traps set, and no more of those. So that's not real typical of summer or maybe spring. Usually the mice find plenty of stuff on shore. They don't need to come aboard. Fall is usually where you got the problem. But I did get one this trip. He was bold, and he must have been really hungry because he took an old peanut butter bait that I'd set way last fall. So that peanut butter has been on there since September. And he took that, and that was the end of him. So the other traps that I've set with fresh bait, nothing's bitten at those, so I don't think I have any mice on board. You know, other than the mosquitoes, ticks, which you expect a little bit when you get into June, not so much in May, but June, and I'm into June, so should be no surprise. And we've had a kind of a warm last 3 or 4 weeks, so that probably is expected. But it really has been a premium trip. I can't express enough how thankful I am for that, the blessing that's been to me. It's been very relaxing, and tonight, this last night, I'm enjoying a beautiful evening, fire, and I've got enough wood to burn until midnight if I want to stay up that late, but I'm not going to. Probably 9 o'clock will be it. Pan around the area a little bit, get a sense of the site. Beautiful evening. Wind is still blowing a little bit, light breeze, but it's calming down. Really enjoying my last night here on the lake. Well, folks, the sun is set, I'm going to have to hit the sack pretty soon because I got to get up about 5 a.m. to get into the docks early enough to get out of the way and get home to Bemidji by 2 o'clock is what my plan is. I'm figuring I got to get up at about 5 o'clock and expedite my morning study and breakfast and get on the way hopefully by 7. Should be in there before 8 o'clock. And I'm hoping that the launch will go smoothly. Not launch, but retrieval, and put it back on the trailer, and the whole rigmarole I have to go through. It's a little bit before 9. I've kind of used the cutoff of about 9 o'clock before I go in. I'll leave some firewood for the next people to come to this site. I used more than I thought I would, though, because of I started early, like 6. It's such a nice evening, and I didn't want to pass it up. And I had the wood, so I figured I might as well use it and enjoy the evening. You know, temperatures really have been moderate. And then I saw that lynx on that one hike, which has been a highlight of the trip. I had one a few years ago. I saw wolves on that trip. So I've had a few trips up here where I've seen some really interesting wildlife that are rarely seen. In fact, in that case, I saw the whole pack cross the body of water. They swam across a narrow part of the, caught me completely by surprise. And I'm guessing 300 to 400 yard distance. I just didn't have the setup at the time, and so I just observed what took place. But you know, I've had a couple of really good experiences here in this park. We're going to call it quits and head into the boat here shortly. Put up the mosquito netting because there's been a lot of mosquitoes today after the rain, and then warmed up pretty good today. I'm sure there was a fresh crop of mosquitoes because it seemed to be everywhere in the boat, and so to make sure I get a good night's sleep, I want to have the net up. My intention is to get up at 5, depart about 7, have the boat out by 8, at least by noon be done and on the road, but it should be earlier than that. Anyway, that's the plan. I'm not going to stay out till dark. I thought I might do that, but it's going to get too late. It'll be almost 10 before it's going to be completely dark. And I don't want to stay out that long because I got to get up too early. Good night, folks. We'll see you tomorrow. So have a good evening.